Storygram Network.
Community Center coming at you. As I said, we got a ton of summer classes. We have a really cool event coming up too on June.
The jazz.
Yeah, Cubani Jazz Project
Jazz.
is a wonderful group down in the East Bay, I believe, and it's on June 22nd here on the back patio. It's part of our summer series, a live music summer series.
Oh, so it's one of those events that we self-funding to collect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
please help us out. I mean, the tickets are super cheap, you know.
Yeah, they're affordable.
Music.
You can come and you can bring your chairs. Unfortunately, I just checked with MC, Mary Catherine, and you cannot bring your own wine, but we will have some food here. I think we're going to have some tacos.
So we're going to have some tacos and some corn on the cob Mexican style.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So, and we'll have drinks available, and then there's VIP experience.
Yep,
and
VIP.
This is fantastic. You'll come a little early into the secret garden, and there may even be a salsa lesson. Shout out.
Is it a salsa, like a picante salsa, or like a some dancing?
I'm down to dancing,
okay.
but this is gonna be fun for all ages, all groups. So anyway, Cubani Jazz Project, I really butchered that one, is June 22nd here.
Yes.
That's the first of our summer series, and then we'll have another one, possibly a local country situation happening in August.
Well, nice. That's nice.
Yeah. And Valley of the Moon Music. They have a festival, right? Classical music, and it's amazing. And they last year did a free concert here for the kids. So the free concert will be here for the kids. It is as well in June, and along with everything else you're going to start exploring on the Sonoma Community Center.
Wow.
You like that?
So many things.
Good thing I'm not singing in the summer series. I'm going to need some
Where's the auto-tune for us?
Hey, Gerardo. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, you know about the subscription? How does it work?
That's a good question. So, subscription to the Sonoma Community Center podcast means really no commitment on your side. What came up, I was thinking about this a long time ago, is people typically tend to think that a subscription means that you have to pay for something, or we're capturing an email or information like that. But that's simply not the case.
So you mean I can just click it and just watch your videos and I don't have to pay any money?
And you don't have to pay any money.
Wow.
Subscribing merely means that when the next time we have an episode, it will pop up wherever you're listening to episodes, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And what that means is it really just supports us and lets us know that we have listeners out there besides just downloading the podcast. So,
and it's just not subscribing, it's also liking it, right?
Liking it, but really that subscribe button means that we know that there's listeners out there.
Perfect.
I don't know if you've had this, but I have people that come up to me and say, hey, I listened to it.
I do.
But translating that into the subscribe button means that you're supporting the Community Center podcast, the artists, and everybody that comes through here and shares their story that we are always excited to share about.
Well, you guys are listening. Subscribe, please.
Yep. Boop,
Make
boop.
our life easier, and we want to become popular, famous.
All right. Subscribe away. Hello, we are the Sonoma Community Center podcast, a place of creativity, connection, and community. We highlight the artists, teachers, and the community that come through the doors of our historic brick building, often called the heart of Sonoma. We share local tips and shout outs to our home, Sonoma Valley. And we are your host, Molly Spencer.
Gerardo Diaz.
We are the engagement team of the Sonoma Community Center.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello, hello. It's Molly Spencer at the Sonoma Community Center and
Gerardo Diaz.
Hello, everyone. Well, Gerardo, it's been a minute.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We got off our game.
Yeah. These microphones are collecting dust already. I mean, there were spider webs, anything,
They are. Well, it's been a big season. The first 5 months in my world was all trash and fashion, Sonoma. Yeah. It's always events, and that's all consuming. but a successful season, I must add.
Yep.
We had 2 sold out shows and lots of participants and connections and everybody's story, and Barbie's out there in the world dressed in trash, finding new homes, outfits upstairs.
You know what? I have to say, though, it was a really good show and you did a great job.
Oh, thanks, Gerardo. I know.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it alone. We have like a fantastic group of some people here that are volunteers. I'm going to just shout out Lynn Martin, who is always there in the weeds with me, as well as Janet Nussbaum, one of our board members, creative writer all around. So I can't do it without everybody that just shows up to the plate and makes it what it is. So
it was a beautiful show.
I know. And if anybody is in Sonoma, right here at the community center, we're only a block and a half away from the plaza, you can come see the trash and outfits. They will be up on display. A few go back to the designers, and then a few designers are like, we're done. You guys can have this. And which is amazing. One of the outfits was made by Brittany Kundi, who was our first place winner. And she made basically her own fairy branches, and they were all paper that looked like wood. That was awesome. Yeah. And flowers, that's a whole nother thing. If you want to see like a really good video, I encourage anybody that wants to follow Trash and Fashion Sonoma on Instagram. We are there all year and we have good ones. But I want to talk about also Noemi.
Oh, yeah. That was the Reina de Primavera, the Queen of Spring.
Yes.
What a beautiful dress. For her first time doing it, participating, it was amazing.
It moved amazing.
Yes.
I think it was over 350 LaCroix cans.
Yes.
And she is actually the costume designer, right? For Ballet Hispanico.
Yep. Quetzalén. Yep.
What a treat to have her on board. So.
Yeah, years of experience. And she's really happy. She's like always thinking of doing it next year too. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I got to get her into, here's the glue trick. Forget the hot glue machine. Forget the hot glue. It's all about E6000. I think that's the name of it. Or is it E3000? Takeshi's looking over at me right now. Maybe you can bust out the Google. You know what we have today? We'll jump off of Trashin', but I just want to say thank you to everybody for supporting that.
And
follow us on Instagram. Participants, artists, sponsors. Everybody came on through.
And we also had the trash bash, the dogs too.
We did. We had dogs on the catwalk where Gerardo and I were narrating.
Terrible.
I wouldn't say terrible. It's a lot of fun, but I have to say, if someone is willing and wants to take over the trash bash and sponsor and all the way through really organize that, we would love it. We do work with our partners, Pets Lifeline, but in the name of the things at the trash bash, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
And we had some participants, but not enough.
I think Sonoma is big enough where we can have at least 20 participants, So come on, people, wake up, get up. I know you love your dogs. Come on, bring them in, dress them up,
People love their dogs.
I know.
Town. They love them.
I was surprised to see that not that many participants. To be honest.
Yeah. So might have to do a little takeaway, folks. Sorry on that, unless someone wants to come in and take over Trash and Fashion. But we got some other ideas, not Trash and Fashion, but the dogs portion. I still love it. And then we're not done yet. Actually, the season continues. And by the time this podcast comes out, it will have already happened. But we are going to the second annual North Bay Fashion Ball happening tomorrow at the Phoenix Theater, organized by Cincinnatus Hubbard. He's amazing. There's 5 upcycled artists. This is more run like the public can come and enter miscellaneous or upcycle outfits and win a tiara. And there's always amazing music. Went to the one last year. And they're great. So Trash and Fashion gets up there and says a little part in between the upcycling designers. And we have our own wonderful Emma Diaz coming with us, and Jane and Rhonda Goodman. You remember that one? It was all like the orange and yellow netted bags.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty cool.
She's a very cool artist. So we'll continue on that, and then I'll keep you posted because I think we're going to be a part of the Eco Awards in Sacramento in August. Anyway, enough about trashing. Let's move on because there's so much more here.
I know. We got so many things going on this month, too. By the time people listen to this podcast, we're probably going to be close to the classes that we have to offer. But
tell us about summer, because summer is right around the corner. And we are actually moving on to just kind of getting people back in the habit of putting most of our classes on a quarterly system. So what that means is trying to have everything dialed in, say our next quarter is summer.
Yeah.
Everything by the beginning of May, ready for June and July and August. So that means, and there's very popular ceramics classes that I know fill fast. So think about those seasons, folks. You want something in January, start looking at the beginning of December. Doesn't mean there won't be pop-ups. Can see you looking at our computer right now.
Yeah, so we have a couple classes too for culinary department. We got the homemade ravioli and wine pairing with Maria Teresa, nice chef. She actually does some of the baking classes for teenagers.
Yeah.
And she's amazing with the kids. Even though it's her first time doing it, she just does it pretty well. Right? Yeah, she's nervous all the time, but dealing with teenagers, I'm nervous to deal with teenagers.
I have one that's just becoming a teenager, and I'm scared.
Yeah, so she's great. It's just amazing.
She's straight from Italy.
Yep.
Every time she's cooking, I mean, it's like the season of Italy, actually, this summer. We also,
we have
Lisa Lavagetto.
Lisa Lavagetto is doing the taste of Italy, I believe.
Yes, there's lots of Italian classes. It smells like rosemary and garlic.
So the ravioli homemaking is really good. It's a workshop. It's 2 hours, and then you get to do your raviolis from scratch and get to eat them at the end of the day with some wine. So it's a done deal.
Does that all go down at noon? Everybody's like...
11 a.m., So by the time you eat it will be like 1. But it'll be nice. It's a nice date, Get your woman, get your favorite person to do this class with.
Yeah. Do it with your dad. It's Father's Day next.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's close to Father's Day. So it'll be June 3rd. This class will be in June 3rd.
Yeah. Come practice with Dad. He's into cooking and eating and all of that sort of stuff. Summer brings us all kinds of classes as well. I know there's quite a few painting and drawing classes coming up, as well as printmaking. Everything you can find is on SonomaCommunityCenter.org. You could just explore and don't be intimidated. If you can't find something, just keep pushing programs.
Or call us, Don't be a stranger.
And one of those things, I just want to give this out there too in the world, because even though this is a podcast, and if you're a local listener, we do rely a lot on volunteers, and we're currently looking for volunteers and interns to help in all sorts of ways. There's always working on events, which we could always use hands on, be it creative, be it in-house. And one of the things we are in need of really is someone to help out around the office. So if you have some skills in that, love it. And
bring it to us.
Our season just started and it's outreach season.
Oh, yeah. Talk about outreach.
Yeah.
Farmers market, man.
Woo-hoo. Farmers market started a couple weeks ago. The Tuesday farmers market is always a zoo, but it's fun.
I'm back in heaven right there with all the fruit stands. Oh my, all the food. Oh my goodness.
I know this week, hasn't been really a great feeling good week for me. I'm on the up and up, but it is so hard at the farmer's market. I'm looking around. There's a lot of food vendors and there's a lot of crafters down there this year.
Yeah, I think that I saw somebody doing rope with the kids. I think she's from the Woodland Star Charter School.
Oh, that's your school, huh?
Yeah, my school, she's doing ropes with the kids, That was pretty cool.
Really cool. I'm a little jealous that we don't have those skills.
That was really cool. I saw my son doing this, and I thought it was great. And then at the end, I saw him jumping with his rope jump that he made. It was so
they
cool.
tie it up in between two trees, mostly yarn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they create these braided jump ropes that the kids can take home.
Yep, and for free.
Right next to us, we brought down the...
we got the pottery
we got
wheel.
The bike-powered pottery wheel.
Yeah, everybody was like, come on, get in the bike. We actually are charging $5 if you ever want to do this. We charge $5.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Here's Gerardo over there, and he sees adults walking up, and he's all cardio and clay, which is true. I should probably get on there a little bit more often, but it's a fun time, and we're down there every other week. The farmers market on Tuesdays is in the Sonoma Plaza, and we will be there. I think it goes until the end of September. I made sure that we were booked for the zucchini races.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen one of those. So I'm
actually looking over at Takeshi. Folks, we finally pulled our sound editor. We're like, no. You're sitting in today. So as you can tell, we did not book a guest. We're free flowing.
No.
So now we get to hear Takeshi's story, but he's over there chuckling at us, right? We roped you in, Takeshi. Welcome.
You roped me in. Thank you.
No stranger to a mic.
No, not really.
You know what? I have to say something. So we're here working with this like $100 mics here, and then Takeshi comes in and brings the Thriller mic.
Yeah, let's talk about the Thriller mic.
Yeah. It's like,
So Takeshi is the sound. I'm going to call you the master of sound.
Sure.
Master of sound.
here I am with my raspy voice, and then his microphone's like smooth criminal, I mean,
And it's because of the Thriller.
is a Thriller mic.
Yeah. It's the same mic that Michael Jackson, not the same exact mic that, I didn't steal it from Michael Jackson.
He eBayed it.
But it's the same model mic that Michael Jackson used in Thriller. So most of the time, I give the singers, the musicians, a kind of a rant about if Michael Jackson sounded good on this $400 mic, if you can't do it,
Nobody can. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the top selling album in the whole entire world.
Is it still? Do you think it still is?
Oh, yeah.
It's never going to be taken down.
I think it's one of my favorite ones, though, too.
Yeah, probably like Thriller and Dark Side of the Moon or something like that.
That's debatable. Oh, you mean as far as best selling?
Yeah, best selling.
Not preference.
Yeah. For some reason, Dark Side of the Moon is always just charting.
You know what? I need to check it out.
That?
I need to check that one out. I
What?
Never, yeah.
You never heard it?
No.
Pink Floyd?
Oh, Pink Floyd, yes.
Yeah, you heard it.
Yeah.
You heard it, or you heard it somewhere. You were in the light show and you didn't know you were hearing it.
If you heard Money.
One of my favorite songs from Pink Floyd is actually Time.
Definitely.
Yeah,
that's
Time is one of my favorite songs, to be honest. I just showed that to my daughter the other day. And like, she was looking for music. I'm like, hey, listen to this, but don't be in shrooms when you listen to this. Okay? She listened to it and she thought it was so cool. She's like, I'm going to put it in my playlist.
I love it when your kids like actually think your music is cool, right? I'm looking over at Takeshi and he's got his Bowie shirt on, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which I'm super jealous. Takeshi and I kind of became friends when he was over at KSVY running the music. And then we had mutual friends that put on the Bowie shows after he had passed.
Yeah.
And I was the lucky winner of this really obscure Bowie album, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Hours, I believe, is what it was.
Yeah. And I was so excited I won something. The thing is, I don't have a record player. I sat there and looked at it for a while and I'm like, I know someone that's going to love this and play it. So do you listen to it?
Oh, yeah. Definitely I do. I have my own Pioneer turntable from back in the day.
I swear that is the one my dad had. Pioneer.
How's the sound on those? Does that sound good?
Well, it has a crystal oscillator on it. So
yes.
Or crystal quartz oscillator in Technics, which is owned by Pioneer. So it doesn't lose time ever, where the belt drives kind of get a little wobbly at times.
I don't even know what he's talking about, but I trust everything this man says about sound. How did you get into sound? Like, when did it start? Did you always collect music? Was it like music and then the tech part of it? Or what's the deal? When did it happen for you?
When did it start?
Yeah.
Started when I was like 5 or 4. No, 6.
I used to go in there to Towers Records.
Radio Shack.
I got guitar lessons here by Paul Christopoulos.
It started at the community center?
Yeah, in this room.
Folks.
Wow.
Every guest we have on, I swear to God, we do not lie. It all starts here.
It always starts here.
Started here for me. Dance. So
started with guitar lessons, and I think it was the first song I learned on acoustic guitar was Weird Al, My Bologna. I was immature, so
I love it.
Just eat it.
Yeah,
oh, totally.
Eventually,
all kids like Weird Al.
I've seen him twice. He's like one of the most amazing performers in the whole entire world.
Oh my God, is that
he wears the outfits, all of them.
I think I heard a story from my oldest son that his teacher from Woodland Star was actually a musician with Weird Al. It was
so good.
Now that you said that. And he looks like Weird Al too.
I know. I imagine just they're all like off of Frank Zappa, then just went in a comedy direction, sort of, So, I love that.
His new movie, his biopic, is
Weird Al still.
Have you seen it yet?
No.
Is he doing movies?
I see you're still a fan.
It's the best movie in the whole entire world.
What's the movie called?
I think it's called Weird Al or Weird, and it has
when did it
Daniel
come out?
Radcliffe as Weird Al in it. It came out like 6 months ago.
That's a little kind of perfect right there.
It's by far the best movie in the whole entire world. And just remember, Devil's Squeeze Box.
All right, you heard it here, folks.
All right,
we'll be binge watching and finding weird.
Weird Al. All right.
Okay.
It's a biopic. It's all true.
When I think about Weird Al, I think about like Tom Green. You remember Tom Green?
Yeah.
Those kind of funny characters,
living the character.
Yeah.
Between art and life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Having fun. I think is like having fun of what they do. Because Weird Al is a fun guy. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So it went from Weird Al to rock songs and everything and learning different scales and then moving on to bass. I was in a couple different bands at the time, but I was always intrigued with like recording. And so I went to audio engineering school in Sacramento.
Nice.
Took every single class and passed it except for one. So I never got my certificate.
Oh,
it was like business and music or something.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
that's
this is awful.
That was like the junior college. I'm not taking math. I'm going to take every single class except for math. Which now I'm all.
I wish I would have taken math.
Right.
Business. Now, what do you know? Now.
Yeah.
You need it, right?
Yeah, I kind of need it now.
It's easy. You have actually the best invoices.
Online classes or something now.
You have the best invoices because they're very clean and easy to read. So take that, Business Masters. Except for when you put a date of December on for March. That's editing skills.
Yeah,
I do that stuff all the time. So you went to sound engineering, then you're like, we're just playing around?
Yeah.
Or
also writing electronic music. So when you're learning about electronic music, you're also learning about mixing and production. That's really important. And at the time, I just really wasn't into audio engineering and all this other stuff, but I just took it. And then by the time I was about to finish the very last class, and I just didn't pay attention to it really and failed it miserably, I had this conversation with one of my old school colleagues, and they said, "Oh yeah, I got my certificate and my AA, and I'm doing nothing with it." I was like, "Great."
Okay.
Just
so you're all you're not really backing me up.
This is,
okay. So
this is really awful, and I was like, "Okay, well, this is nice, awesome." And then so I moved on. I said, "You know what? Screw this. I'm not gonna complete this. This is really stupid." But along came YouTube, and I guess I'm more YouTube educated than anything, because back in the day when you learn about production, it's like you're hearing it from some wizard over the mountain, and you hear these like secrets about audio production.
Okay.
And you hear it from somebody who heard it from somebody else who worked in some studio out in San Francisco, like the foundry, the factory, I can't remember the name of it right now. Fantasy Studios, that's the name of it. And you hear about all these tricks and everything, but you don't know if it's ever true. And plus, you don't have the gear to do it.
That makes sense, because you can't really experiment and see if it's true, because at that time, it's pretty expensive gear. Yeah.
Very expensive gear. Like a mixer is like, back then, a 24 channel mixer is about $250K.
Oh,
what?
That's like a house.
Minimum $250K. 24 track reel to reel, that's like another $100K.
So it's like a $500,000 kind of setup. Huh?
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. And then the speakers alone are about $40K. And so
no wonder y'all.
yeah.
Should I finish school?
Should I?
Should I go back?
That's like having. That's like 20 student loans right there.
Right. And then you could get a gig over at a studio, but you're an assistant for a good 2-3 years, and if you're lucky, you might be able to touch a mixer and make minimum wage for a while. Touch a mixer.
You might be able to unfair.
Go, touch the mixer today.
Guess what? I touched the $200,000 mixer.
You know, you could have been the cleanup crew. You always gonna touch the mixer. If you clean it.
Exactly, unless you blow it up. Oh. You spill the wrong cleaning substance over it.
That sucks.
during the time I was making chip tunes with my bandmate.
Chiptune?
Well, it's like you're making music with Game Boys and Nintendos.
Oh my God, that's rad. This is a new world for me.
We went on this weird tour and everything for a week. And we used to play in all over the place. And we had like monthlies in SAC. And yeah, it's called SAC, not Sacramento. If you lived in Sacramento, you know it is SAC.
It is SAC. My husband was born out of SAC, and that's always what he calls it.
Yeah. You never call it Sacramento.
His tongue is just tired by the time it gets to the
right. So,
Sack.
Yeah. So the more and more you actually do learn about audio production through just YouTube and just watching more and more, and it triggers something, and then you have to pirate the software because software was bigger than
Renegade you.
Yeah, you have to because you don't have the money. So let me think here. And then I got into doing visuals for a bi-monthly club in
like lighting?
Sacramento.
Lighting?
Yeah, trippy psychedelic visuals.
Okay.
And I did that for years. And
nobody's super familiar with the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon.
yeah, I worked with a laser guy for a while.
Oh, wow.
By the way. And he was the guy who had the license to shoot a laser above 1 watt. And so,
you need a license for that? I don't even know.
Yes, because you could blind somebody with it. And so he was the one that was shooting these lasers in the 90s at these raves and everything. And then still continues to do it. And he made his own custom lasers. I worked with him for a while. That was really funny.
This is a whole new world. This is like the Clay when Meg was here. It's like School of Sound.
Yeah. And so somehow I was working with Teresa over at the Briar Patch.
The Briar Patch, by the way, folks, that's the old smoke shop in town, right?
Yeah.
It's a juice bar now.
It's so
it's
old
been
school.
many. It was across from the pub, Murphy's.
Old Sonoma right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a cool place for people to go, though, that were like teens and stuff.
And so somewhere in between there, I went to IT school and computer science school, and I didn't get anything out of it except for learning how to Google really well and watch more YouTube, how to repair things.
I'm so happy.
This is just like falling into things. So Trace got a phone call from somebody named Ned Hoke, and
I know
he
Ned.
needed somebody to repair his computer. And so I stopped by and I started repairing his computer and doing kind of office work for him. And
Ned Hoke is a therapist in town that actually I would say, acupuncturist. That was it.
Yeah.
Maybe I went to the same. I think I went to him when I was a teenager. He's kind of a legend in Sonoma.
He is. Yeah. And so he actually had me figure out how to get his show onto a podcast form. This is like 12, 13 years ago.
Really?
And so I kind of figured it out for him.
Ned Hoke is the OG podcaster?
Yes.
Of Sonoma?
He's
everywhere?
the OG.
No way.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, his office was right behind the old KSUY studio.
Yeah, that was right over by 7-Eleven, right? That small little building.
And Ned was using KSUY's Wi-Fi because he had his own show there. So I had to go over there. This all comes together.
That he's siphoning Wi-Fi to do his OG podcast, and it probably doesn't have a word for it. Too. Yeah.
And so I'd bump into Bob every once in a while because I was taking archives of Ned's show and labeling it for him and doing all this other crazy stuff with it, putting the tags on it. And it was a really big process back then.
Yeah.
And so sooner or later, Bob was like...
That's Bob Taylor, folks.
Bob Taylor.
GM of KSBY.
Yeah. And sooner or later, Bob was like, hey, I need someone to work with me to do these sports events and help out with just working around the radio station. And I said, sure, why not? I think also I was pedicabbing at the time too. It's just
petty what?
Pedicabbing, doing wine tours.
Yes.
This is also
you
random.
were doing wine tours?
Yeah, on a pedicab. I just get people really swirly and we just have a good time.
another person of many talents.
Yes.
You know, we get bored, I guess, in Sonoma, and
that's how
really
we
gotta mix
survive,
it up.
Yeah,
You know?
you got to scrap around here.
It's true.
And so I was working with Bob, and then maybe 2 years later, I got a full-time status there. And that's when I took over the morning show, and that's where I met you, Molly.
Yeah. See,
So he was like slipping on a
all
banana.
roads lead to me. No, just joking. What was I going to say? Who is responsible for the gong sound on the morning show?
The gong sound is actually from Jeff Gilbert.
Okay, so Jeff Gilbert is another super great character in town. You gotta listen to his show. He is straight out of the 40s, folks. He's a crooner and just Jeff.
He's such a
Not
character.
Gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So how long were you there for?
I say 5, but I think it was about 3 or 4.
Okay.
Eventually, just couldn't do it anymore.
I don't even know how you got up in the morning, to be honest. So
Yeah.
that's like morning show. Ooh, what time you be there?
On Thursdays, we used to have a wine segment. It was so bad. At 8:40 in the morning, we had a wine segment, and we'd be
8:40 in the
tasting wine.
morning.
Yeah.
Well, I know for Sonoma Community Center, I'm not saying like I'm the first one that did it, but nobody was really doing that here.
Yeah.
It's kind of sleepy, you know. I mean, it's great. We had amazing programs, and I think Kayla started going on to promote ceramics
That's
and some of the
right.
Chili Bowl events and stuff. And I said, "Well, sign me up. I want to go on the radio." And the first time I went in, it's only a 20-minute slot.
Yeah.
I must have brought like a list of 20 classes plus. I talk so fast. And I'm like, thank God for Takeshi. Finally, he's like, he didn't say it, but gently, they're like, streamline that. You know, leave it to now. It's like, okay, I maybe get 2 or 3 concepts in, but
That's right.
yeah. So
I think the way that worked out was Bob was just like, go look through the newspaper, find anything you can,
yeah,
and just invite them on. I was like, sure, fine. Why not?
I know.
Let's
I
just
know.
do this.
Well, I mean, do you know the vortex now of like finding guests? Everybody's very competitive for guests. So.
Yeah, it's really tough. And I was trying to get 5 guests a day,
Yeah.
Wow.
5 days a week.
Lot.
And
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got like authors on and different
Yeah.
people. And I don't
No,
know
I
how
love
it is
it.
now.
I think, you know, I mean, it's great. And I think there's so much more connection out there, and people are aware, especially of KSVY and our local radio stations, of that's a part of it too. You know,
Right.
I actually listen to it. I love KSVY. And I felt not a lot of pressure because I wasn't sure what it sounded like. But besides that, then you kind of moved on. And what was the next steps? Did you start doing some sound in clubs, in a comedy club? Am I right?
Yeah, I did that too for, I guess, 8 years. During the time I was working at KSVY. And then I started doing sound for a movie, and that kind of shifted my little brain. Big head, little brain. And I didn't
Takeshi
want
has
to
incredible hair, by the way. Go look at the cover
So
shoot.
fluffy.
You're going to see. It's pretty.
Yeah.
No wonder he loves Weird Al.
I didn't want to be in an office anymore. I decided to be crazy and just do whatever I wanted. And so I ended up leaving KSVY from there.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple movies now, a TV series, did like sound design for a couple different things, been on different productions for like, say, Facebook and a couple other things.
Oh, wow. I remember you saying from the past, and this actually really resonated. I think it was when I interviewed Dan when they filmed Scream here, and they were talking about just how there's a lot of standing around as the sound engineers and stuff.
My God.
Tell us about the glamour of your exciting sound engineering life.
Oh, my God. Okay, so the first movie, a third of the movie, we didn't use a stand. I was just holding the boom stand with
Like
my
above?
arms. Like, yes.
Oh.
And it was so painful.
It's like Survivor, sound engineer. Sorry, we watch Survivor in this family. It's like hanging, you hang from the pole with your toes.
2 minutes in, you start shaking. You can't
Yeah.
just stand there. And then eventually we were like, oh, we got the stand here. Why don't we just use that?
I
Jesus.
got an idea. Oh no, maybe it's bad. Survivor of Sound Engineers, and you win that $250,000 mixing board. Who can hold the boom mic the longest?
Imagine if you're standing there and then they make a mistake on the scene. You're like, redo,
That happened. Yeah. It happened a couple times because the mic would get too low.
You can see the mic over there, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, but mostly.
They can't erase that though?
You can't clip it like a photo.
Well,
No.
you kind of can or whatever, but if it's like a close-up shot, then you can't do that. So,
how long are the mics, the poles?
It could go out to like 12 feet.
That's pretty bad though when you're like standing and holding a pole that is like 12 feet though.
Yeah. Most of the time I did like 5 or 6, but you're just holding it and it just hurts so bad.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time,
American Sound Warrior.
You ever try to do like an arm wrestle after that? I mean, you're probably pretty strong.
Yeah, after that, I learned I needed to go to the gym and start working out more. During the movies, what you mostly do, that's what you were asking about. You kind of wait for the lighting because the first movie I did, it was just like, okay, looks good, let's just do it. And you kind of have to hide mics on petite people. And that's just, oh my God. I never want to hide mics on like a lace dress ever again. It's just,
I always thought about
hell.
that. What do they do during
a lot of the time they do
those scenes?
Yeah. A lot of the time they do like ADR where they just do a take of it and then they record it all in the studio.
Separately, no?
Is that right?
Sometimes
they do, but
kind of like the cartoons, no?
Yeah. But the problem is sometimes it doesn't sound the same. And so you got to choose. If you're going to do the whispery stuff, that's going to be in the studio.
Oh, I am just intrigued over here.
If you ever watch, like, say, Wednesday, have you seen Wednesday? The new.
Yeah, yes, actually.
Do you ever notice how bad the dialogue is?
I'm going to, but
when I listen to it, it's
because they're moving their mouth, but it doesn't go as.
Well, no, it's because I think they didn't want to do it in the studio because a lot of the times nowadays they wanted to get a good clean take and everything.
Oh.
And so it was
that
just
sounds
all over
terrible.
the place. Oh,
I'm going to go back and look now.
It drives me insane.
Oh, those little details. That's like when I watch Dance Moms. Actually, here's a sound thing. So, trying to find a show with your teenager who's 13. I'm like, Dance Moms? Really? I didn't even watch that in the day because that lady was such a nightmare. Well, okay, so I'm watching it. Dance Moms bringing back Abby Lee. And they do, like, a couple of the girls got popular and decided to record some videos. And one of them decided to do a live show. And she was supposed to be lip syncing, literally holding the mic out here, singing the song and stuff. I'm all, what the? Even my kid is like, what? Like, just holding it,
And
so then put it down, dance. And anyway, sound stuff is funny. When you notice it, you can't get it out of your brain. It's hard to like move on to the next scene.
Definitely. What gets me with like a lot of those talent shows or whatever you want to call it is when they use auto-tune. It drives me insane. Ooh.
Wow.
You mean talent shows on TV?
Like say American Idol or The Voice. You can tell.
Not this afternoon's talent show I'm running at Sonoma Charter School.
What? Yeah, it's like where they're going and they hit this one note and it's out of tune and it kind of like wavers and it sounds a little bit robot-y.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting.
It was funny. The other day I was watching a movie called Sweet Tooth, I think. And there was the scene where this guy is explaining something to a lady and I can hear somebody's phone ring.
Oh, really?
No.
But they didn't even erase it. It just went ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. And I told my son, I'm like, come here, listen to this. And so my son is like, I don't hear that. I'm like, you don't hear like a Teen Mobile kind of thing. I'm like, somebody screwed up on
You
that
got
one.
fired.
Yeah.
Well, that is pretty cool. But I mean, and then there's a whole nother job after you're working in the movies.
Yeah.
It's when you take it home. I mean, that's when your real job kicks in, right?
Okay, so I still haven't even finished the
Sorry,
what
I'm
you
jumping
usually
forward.
do. Yeah, so the most current movie I did, which is a little bit more professional, to say the least. They wanted to get every take right, and they wanted to get the lighting right. And so you sit there for a good 45 minutes. I clean all my gear and make sure everything's nice and ready to go for the actors and actresses. And then you go, okay, so we're going to get ready for this. So you got to mic up the actors and actresses right now. and we're going to do it in 5 minutes, which means basically another hour.
Oh, Jesus.
Hurry up and rush.
So
Hurry up and wait.
It's so you put the mics on them and it takes about 10, 15 minutes to decide which sounds the best because like there are these little lav mics. They're about, 1 inch in diameter round and you kind of have to put it like in their chest or around their neck, or you got to hide it somewhere in the bow tie or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's kind of like the flower world, when we do weddings and you have to put on a boutonniere and you have to or a corsage underneath, right? So when I worked in New York City, we ended up doing this wedding for, I don't even know who it was. It was at the Plaza Hotel, right? Crazy family I worked for. And I had to put on the boutonnieres and corsages. And I walk up and this guy's pretty hammered. Totally hammered, in fact, right? He's all, well, hello there. It turns out it's Yogi Berra, the voice in the taxis in the far right. He's, how you doing, pretty thing? Right? And I have to reach in and try to put on his boutonniere, and, so it's an awkward part of the trade.
Definitely. And so you put the mics on them, and most of the time I'm arguing for a boom mic because the best sounding mic is probably going to be a boom. And then usually it's not. So all we're going to use are the lavs, which is really stressful at times because if it doesn't sound right, you got to move that mic again. If there's lav rustling, and so you have to figure out the good place to put it.
It's a sweet spot.
Okay, so you're waiting another good hour for them to get the line right, and then it's like a 5-minute take, and then you do it again, and then you do another one, and they go, okay, let's change the camera angle. So you got to wait another 30 to 45 minutes.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that job.
Glamour's done. None of it. You know how you just I wanted to be in the movies, or you want to be a part of it at some point.
Yeah.
All of it, you start finding out, you're like, ugh.
It's it's going to take 3 hours just to do too many scenes. Oh my goodness.
That's how it always is.
Yeah.
Give them props for all those movies they do. A 2-3 hour movie. I bet you there's about 20 hours that was just cut out and shaved down to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, hundreds of hours
hours
that go into any productions like that. Thinking of any events that we do here, not to bring it back to the community center, but all these events take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours. And people don't even realize how much that takes, But we did notice it when we had to kind of switch over and learn some video technique for COVID when Eric and Kayla and I were all doing videos, right? I actually shot my first one. First, I transitioned into doing ballet for 5-year-olds online. That worked out for about 2 times, right? Because they're all jumping on top of the trampoline, doing ballet. I'm all, no.
This isn't
going to work, right? Then I thought it shot a how-to video. Oh my God, it's probably still on the community center YouTube, and had a really bright tablecloth out in the secret garden. Anyway, it was a lot of work just to get a cohesive little video.
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative that Reels is out now and kind of gives you some templates because it just takes a long time. And the sound thing was the weirdest thing for me to try to figure out.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
There's always problems with
I'm all, this looks
videos.
good. Oh my God.
Yeah. If you're outside, you're going to get the birds and the air.
Oh, totally.
And everything. And so you got to use dialogue isolate and these really expensive programs to fix all that.
Yeah. That's why we called you in.
Yeah. So where was I? Okay. So movies. And then I got asked to do sound design for the movie. And so I did that. And I got hired to do other movies too, because I saw one of my old friends again, who I haven't seen in 15 years. Randomly, he lived in Sonoma because I was doing a gig for KSY.
It all comes back to Sonoma.
Yeah, always comes back and always dovetails back.
It's like a Godfather town. Try to get out, it pulls you right back in.
Yeah. Exactly.
You like that?
Yeah, so when I got into the podcasting thing, I was always helping some people out here and there. I helped out with Wine with Nurses and a couple other ones. Daedalus, the
deadliest Daedalus.
We did a Bohemian podcast, and unfortunately, the owner didn't get it. So we canceled our thing on Transistor. And then I guess a representative hit him up and said, oh, the podcast sounded good. How about if we give you a free year?
Okay.
And that's how we started Storygram.
Yeah. So you came to me a little bit about Storygram. Maybe explain it a little again. I'm all Storygram. Still trying to figure it out. You know about Storygram?
Mm-mm.
Maybe you can explain to G about Storygram.
Oh, yeah. So this is all during the pandemic and everything. So.
Yeah.
So we decided to start a small thing called Storygram. And it's just a podcast network, pretty much. And it's not, I mean, it could be going somewhere if we pushed it a little bit harder, but it's just pretty much I'm getting all my favorite shows or all the shows I work with, and I just put it on there. And sooner or later, we're going to have like a website and everything, but we're just still just putting on new shows. And
We're on
and,
Storygram, right?
You're all on Storygram.
Yay!
That's a big fist bump there.
We're just trying to, I mean, come into podcasting. I know it's a very saturated field, you know, but, and so we appreciate all y'all out there that made it this long. But I think even trying to reach out to people that are kind of new to listening to podcasts, they don't really understand where they can find it. For us, because we've done a lot of things on YouTube, they seek it there, but it's clearly everywhere, wherever you listen to podcasts. But I think they just don't understand, some of them, about the word subscribe, because I think subscribe makes you think you're
putting money or
you're getting email or you're going to pay for it. But really, folks, subscribe just means, hey, we're going to show up next time a new podcast comes out and you want to listen to Takeshi talk about it. So that's all that means. Yeah. And that supports us be able to do
supports y'all.
What we're doing.
Yeah, come on. We're not asking you for money now.
They should subscribe and review your podcast. Yeah. And that will give it
Thank you. Next steps. Next steps, subscribe and review, touch snaps, whatever that is.
But the funny thing is about this podcast is that if you put Sonoma, I think it'll just pop up because the community center is such a
strategy.
Thing about it.
Yeah. I didn't want a fancy name because I didn't think anybody was really going to find
like
it.
We need to, like, when we market in, we need to put like really cool pictures of the podcast. Like, just like when they do Mr. Beast, you ever seen Mr. YouTube's, you know? The picture is like something crazy going on in the background, you know?
Maybe they always have that shocked face.
Yeah, we should be like this. You know?
I think that Oscar. I think we'll just put Oscar, our puppet, back in there.
Like
another guess, because at one time the experimental party that we had in December, actually that was pretty fun. Oscar came here to interview everybody. I put him on the graphic, right? I was like, get on my graphic. And it was
so we need to dress up maybe like jailbreaking or something, you know, something that people be like, oh my God, what's happening? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all in the title, I think.
Yeah, title and maybe the presentation, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Presentation.
I'm always open to titles, you guys. Can you help me out?
You know what? A long time ago, I have my friend Kevin, and we always want to do a podcast about reviewing the worst restaurants out there. Go and eat. And we're going to call it Diarrhea Brothers, you know?
So you're just going to create a podcast just to sandbag something.
Yeah.
We are sliding down a slippery slope here, Gerardo.
Not brought to you by Sonoma Community Center.
This is not associated with Sonoma Community Center.
Not at
Although
all.
we are down for always bringing back the segment and making it a good one soon of What's for Lunch.
What's for Lunch,
and maybe that's how we wrap it up. I mean, Takeshi, you have an amazing story, and I can only imagine you when you're little too. Your sister's Amiko, right?
Yeah.
I remember her from high school. So a wildly avant-garde family.
Yeah, she's always
Do you get it from your
smart
parents?
I think so, probably.
Yeah. Japanese in your background?
Yeah, my mom's half Japanese. She was, no, she's Japanese. She was actually raised in internment camp.
Wow.
She was there for like a good 5-6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they don't really mention that, you know.
Don't really talk about that one, right?
No. Little hush hush. It's only a few months now.
Wow, that's something. So
yeah, my dad has a crazy story. It just sounds like such a.
And that's what they met.
Oh no!
Oh,
they met in San Jose.
Okay.
San Jose University. but my dad has a crazy story. It just sounds like it comes out of one of those weird black and white movies.
What? Tell me.
So
We got time for this one?
This is so weird.
Come on, I'm intrigued now.
Okay, so my dad was premature, and so he was lucky he made it out. They put him in a shoebox and gave him to the mom.
Wow.
Just back in the day, you know,
Yeah.
back in the 40s or whatever. It's so when he was like, I think 8 or 9, his mom was married to his stepdad. They separated and his dad moved to Oregon. So my dad hopped on a train and from Minnesota to Oregon, he lived with hobos.
Wow.
Decent.
On a
Oh my
train.
God. I'm loving this. You know, in the
It doesn't sound real.
No, it doesn't. But in the 90s, okay, just like touching on that.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty obsessed. It's a little punk rock thing. And
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know why we thought it was cool, but it was kind of cool. And they had a whole series of like a fanzine that had like the story of this guy traveling along with hobos on trains and stuff.
Yeah.
What? Your dad's another OG.
Yeah. Like 8 or 9, though.
Wow.
Imagine doing that. It doesn't sound
running for the rails. That's like.
And so, what was his purpose? To go to?
He wanted to live with his stepdad because
No way.
his mom was abusive.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so he,
Good stepdad.
yeah, great stepdad, nicest man in the world. So he says, I've never met him. So he joined the Navy when he was like 17. He had crooked teeth and they pulled all his teeth out. Every single one. And
Yeah.
no Novocaine, no nothing. And he was there for several years. And then the way he got his
What-
Purple Heart,
What years were we talking about?
I think the Korean War.
Korean War?
Yeah.
Okay.
Era. And then the way he got his Purple Heart is so weird again. Somebody was sweeping the deck on the top deck and a big old, like, huge nut about the size of my hand fell on his head and cracked his head and he was bleeding. And my dad was so angry at this guy. I don't know how he was still alive. First off, that he grabbed the wrench and was trying to kill the dude. But then they realized that he needed to get medical attention. And
What?
yeah. So
Wow.
random.
This is some movie
Yeah,
making
yeah.
material.
So random.
Then he grabs the wrench.
Yeah.
Try to kill the guy.
Yeah. 20 people were trying to hold him back. And my dad at the time, he was so strong. He was like Hercules and he's like 80.
Hercules.
I'm serious too. Like
It's classic.
my dad taught Kung Fu for a while. And
No, shut up.
I'm telling you.
is
and
going
he was
good.
able to, I mean, I've seen it. They had put a blindfold on him and he was able to just fight off about 5 to 8 guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr.
So
I
Bruce
do,
Lee's
man.
like, who's Takeshi's dad over here?
Your dad got nothing on
Yeah.
Bruce Lee, man.
I knew
Wow.
right then and there.
Oh
I was
no,
like,
it's
I'll never be
the
able to
other
beat
way
him up.
around.
It
It's
is.
that Bruce Lee has nothing on your dad.
On Takeshi's
On
dad.
Takeshi's
Yeah,
dad.
I knew then and there I'd never be able to beat him up. I was like,
Maybe he
Amazing.
told you that story so you never you never mess around with him. Just in case you wanna when you're a
Start
teenager
fessing
wanna
up,
yeah.
oh no, my dad was old school. Like he never beat me or anything, but he would, if
Give
he
you the
said
eye?
something, he'd give me the eye and swear at me
Uh-huh.
and threaten me. And I was like, oh, okay.
Does your dad knows how to speak Japanese?
No.
What about your mom?
No, my mom kind of knew like a version of Spanglish.
Is it because
but in Japanese?
Is it because they were put in camp so they wanted to be like more
Yeah.
American kind of?
Yeah, when they integrated back into the schools, they gave my mom a American name. So it was June instead of Kyoko, and then
terrible.
yeah.
Is she an artist?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's Tomiko, which is our friend. That's an artist around here.
What's her name?
Tomiko.
Okay.
You know
That's
who,
probably
you know
what I'm
who
thinking
does
of.
that? Who changed names? Is Starbucks. Every time I go there, they change my name to I tell them Jose, and they come to Joe.
Really?
Yeah, when I get my copy, it's like Joe.
Yeah. Whenever they ask for my name, I was like, you know what? I'll scan this, and you guys go ahead and.
They're terrible.
It's lucky you can do that. Speaking of names, my original name, my maiden name, which I've actually never really changed. That's how old it is Shettig. It's like an Austrian name.
What?
Yeah, imagine that.
That
Egg.
yeah,
Shattuck.
Shaggy.
shedding. There's ends put in it. It's still, I actually started to appreciate it once I became a boring old Spencer. And so I've never really changed it.
But Spencer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a pagan mask from like the Black Forest or something. They have these crazy, my dad's a priest, so I didn't really go for that. Well, we got some crazy parents. That's probably a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But
and growing up in the 90s, of course,
Yeah.
you know. So I got that Gen X kind of
yes.
sarcasm. And
I think everybody has stories. If you think about it, if you go down, like I got a bunch of stories when I was coming to the United States. You know, crazy ones too.
I know. I can't wait to dive into your story
wow,
someday.
that would be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be really cool.
Wow.
Anyway.
Takeshi. Well, we're excited you're here. You always make us sound good.
Oh, yeah, I try to.
And now I feel lucky because our 8th graders, or my daughter at her school, they have a little podcast that they're doing over there.
All right.
And so,
right.
you know, folks, are you interested in podcasts? How do we put that together?
We've
You
been
know?
discussing it. You know.
We've been discussing it and just trying to work our brain around, like, you teach them the tech part. Like,
I
what
was
do we
thinking
do
we
here?
could do like 2 classes or something like that. That was my big plan. And this one where you could learn how to do everything for free.
Yeah.
Programs free. The host is free. And you got to do everything on your own. But that's really tough because we have to figure out how to do a lab or something or another. And then there'd be the advanced one where I would show you all how I really edit up a podcast, take out the filler words and make it sound really nice. And that's going to be super techy.
So it's really the tech side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the old other dives if you decide that you want to talk, right? Like,
Right.
Gerardo,
Yeah.
some research.
Talk close to the mic.
Yeah.
Do it well. See my sound. I'm telling you, like, I've been hearing my voice all day right now, and it sounds like I've been a smoker for 30 years. I was, but it just sounds like, hey, man. And then Takashi's like, smooth criminal.
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
don't know if he can fix that with his
I
sound
sound
magic.
He can fix my voice.
I sound super nasally all the time.
I always talk like this. So do I.
So I wouldn't worry about Gerardo.
Mine's
No?
like, wah, wah, wah.
I sound like a duck sometimes. Yeah.
I feel like that too.
But you know what? I do want to give a shout out. I always do it when we're doing the podcast is for Costa Tacos. My favorite place on earth to go eat tacos is Costa Tacos.
Costa,
Are they sponsoring us?
They
yet?
No,
really
they're
should
not.
be
But
sponsoring us.
every time I go
They should
there,
at
they
least
just
sponsor us some free tacos at the Tuesday Farmers Market.
As long as they continue serving some good tacos, I'm going to talk about them because they're delicious.
Takeshi, what's your jam when it comes to lunch choices?
I've been thinking about this because I figured it'd come towards me. You want to know my guilty pleasure? And I hate to say it when it's like 11:30 at night, and it used to be a 24/7 joint. And it's
Frozen burritos from 7-Eleven.
Taco Bell.
Oh,
No, such a guilty pleasure.
Oh my God,
that's
you are
my number one
right now.
guilty pleasure.
You are the Antichrist.
You know what? If I want to clean or do a cleanse on myself, I go to Taco Bell. Taco Hell. I go to diarrhea tacos. Man, you're killing me.
Yeah, that's right.
There's something about their sour cream. I think it just doesn't do well with me. But
I got a story for you.
I'm not gonna lie. I would hit up the Taco Bell when in the drinking days when you'd go out and about. And that was the only thing that was open.
Taco Bell in the 90s or early's maybe.
Yeah,
the 80s.
Yeah, it was
When it
good.
had the yellow wrapper.
Yeah, it was really good because I remember when they opened the first Taco Bell in Napa. My cousin was working there, and she's like, "Hey, come!"
That one was legendary back in the day.
We're gonna have like free tacos. Come in, So I
the
went.
legendary Taco Bells. We all know them. There's
was
one
delicious.
in Pacifica like that.
It was
too.
delicious.
Well, did you know over in Sonoma, this Taco Bell, people camped out in front
Oh
a
no
week
way!
ahead
Oh yeah.
just to get Taco Bell.
I'm trying to remember what it was. Taco Bell was something else there.
It was going to be a Burger King at one point, but at that time, it was just a lot.
It was a lot.
It was just a parking
Because I had
lot.
a friend
Was
that
it?
licked
Yeah.
her Kermit gear.
Yeah.
Because I remember we had
Yeah.
a KFC here.
KFC is where
Jack in the Box.
Then it
is.
was Kenny Rogers
Yeah.
Roasters.
Was it?
And
For a
before that,
second.
it was A&W.
Yeah.
And then there was a Foster Freeze right across the street from
the
McDonald's.
Happy Dog. The one that's now.
Yeah, that breaks my heart.
Yeah, I know. Happy Dog. Come on. Bring it back. Bring it back.
You
I worked
remember
there.
the diner Lions, I think it was called, where Blackberry used to be.
You mean Leon's?
Leon's. Okay. I got a story
that was Caro's. That was Caro's.
I remember I was in high school and me and my buddies were all hungry. So we're like, hey, let's go to Leon's, and eat. So I ordered the nachos. And then what I found, there was a cucaracha and my sour cream. It looks like the cucaracha was like snow ski.
I've heard this story. I've heard this story.
So what I did is I took the cucaracha, put it on the side, eat the thing, and then called the manager like, hey, there's a cucaracha here, So the guy grabs the cucaracha, throws it in the ground, and he's like, I'll bring you a new one. I'm like, all right, perfect.
On the ground?
Yeah, just throws it on the ground, on the carpet.
It's so ratchet.
And then so he goes, brings me the nachos. And then me and my friend would look at each other. We're like, let's just finish it and then put back the cucaracha in the plate and then tell him. So we did the same thing. We ate the nachos, called him, and he's like, hey, man, there was a cucaracha underneath like a chip or something. He's like, oh, they might be on the chips then. I'm like, I'm not paying for this, man, So we got two nachos, but no, like I said, it looked like it was skiing. That cucaracha was skiing on my sour cream.
Yeah,
terrible.
Were you guys around? We used to hit that place up. It was Lions and Denny's. That was 24 hours for a while, or at least open to like 2 or 3.
And they had a little cigarette vending machine over there.
What?
Oh yeah. Wow. You're allowed to smoke inside restaurants up until like maybe 93, 94.
Yeah. High school.
Yeah. I remember when they banned smoking at clubs in San Francisco. And for years, they would still have like ashtrays on the side.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. For the Renegades.
Yeah. Anyway, so
crazy.
Taco Bell, guilty pleasure.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
Wow.
Guilty pleasure. So that means
people,
I don't go there
cover
much.
your ears, please. Cover your ears, people.
And if you're feeling like you're not binging on Taco Bell, which we all know. Our ages, you can't do that all the time.
No, you can't. Once a month, maybe at the most. I swear.
So what else is your jam?
Well, when my parents and I lived here, we would go to probably 2 places, 3, because Happy Dog was there.
Oh,
it's not there anymore.
Okay. Happy
I still have my T-shirt. I worked there.
Happy Dog was one of the best burgers I ever got, but there was nothing happy about those people in there. They were really quiet all the time.
You know what? Nice, that was just that they were actually super nice. Well, I started working for them. I worked there when it was Mr. Smith, and he talked about grumpy, right? All high school. So we worked there, and then they started working there, and they were just really nice. I forgot to go to work, and I ended up working across the street at Golden Springs.
Right? That was my sister's first job.
I think I worked there. I don't know if I worked with her.
I worked there as a dishwasher.
Everybody
there's stories. There's stories.
I've got some stories that I'm not going to repeat.
Did you ever hear about? Yeah, there was a fight between. There's always fights between the chefs and everything, and they'd bring out the knives and try to chop each other up.
Yeah, the first long time ago. I'm talking about maybe 97 or something around there. I was like 12 or something, and I wanted a job.
I was there like in 89 or something like that.
I mean, the chefs were like cooking with the cigarettes in their mouth.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I got a lot of stories, and I'm not going to repeat until we get off that. But I still love their chicken chow mein.
That's everybody's delicious. First gig.
I think the ashes were
right after Happy Dog.
The delicious, flavors there.
Yeah, when I went vegetarian, the last thing I ate was a Happy Dog hamburger.
Oh,
I was vegetarian when I worked there. I started grease fire on a
Happy
Saturday.
Dog, bring it back, Happy Dog. It's my favorite.
Yeah. So they sold it to their relatives.
Yeah. The nephews, no?
Nephews, yeah.
Yeah, they were young ones.
Unfortunately, they just didn't have.
Well, they had the pandemic, though. They had the pandemic habit. And then I know some of my friends worked there too, and then they used to go on vacation a lot, I think. And then the old folks, they never went on vacation, except in January. They used to close it for a week to do cleanup, and then they'll come back. But they were always there.
Fun fact, when they did buy it, because it was a greasy pit, legit greasy pit. They bought it, and they cleaned that up. And one of the fire marshals that used to go in and give everybody said it was the cleanest restaurant he'd actually seen.
You can
Sonoma.
You can tell the fans when you walked in there, the greasers, they were spotless.
Yeah.
Every time you walked in, because they used to clean it every day. My friend says that every day Cleanup time,
And
man.
that guy could cook a burger. He only flipped the burger one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched him.
So
he only
good.
flipped it once, and that taught me how to flip burgers. And
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to flip it all the time. He just
don't.
had the timing, though. He
One
was just
time.
great.
Yeah, he was such a
And the
G at it.
barbecue sauce they used, though, was
Oh, my
delicious.
goodness.
And there was something else
You guys
because I
are
tried to
funny.
look for that barbecue sauce, and I couldn't find it. He used to add something
he
different.
did something
in that.
different.
Yeah.
He did
It
something.
was delicious.
I wish I knew that secret because I don't know if we did barbecue sauce when I was there. On my way, I'd be walking up, stop and pick blackberries from Maxwell and make shakes
You
and stuff.
never seen him when he was like when they were in the grill. He used to go like this.
I didn't do.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no.
There was
the
something in
barbecue
that
sauce.
barbecue
Oh,
sauce, and I
delicious.
still can't figure out what
The
it is.
milkshakes were delicious
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I used to love them.
I started a grease fire there. I still know people to this day. I'm like, charburger with mustard, super rare, barely flip it.
They were on
You know,
that
like-
Food Network show.
Oh yeah, the cheapest.
were?
Yeah.
It was who had the best chili dog or something like that. You know how it was
Yeah.
restaurants versus restaurant. I don't know if they won or not, but
Well, I nominate, and people aren't going to know this since towards the end of our podcast, but I will tag him on Facebook. I nominate Aaron Brumley, like everybody else in town, to bring back Happy Dog.
Yes.
everybody's been talking
Aaron.
about this.
Just bring it back. I mean,
Please.
we need a joint.
You know
like
where
that.
they got their meat?
Where?
I thought it was Broadway
That's
Market
right.
in the day
Who?
because
They got their meat.
Happy
Yeah,
Dog?
Broadway. Yeah.
Broadway Market,
Oh no way.
good meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely got all local things. The fries were like
Oh.
It was
straight out of.
sirloin. They used like a steak or something
Wow.
like that, and they ground it up.
There was something different because
Yeah.
I try to make a burger at home and it's not the same.
You gotta
It's
get
not
a
the
ground
same.
steak.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that was good. And now I learned something. new.
R.I.P. Happy Dog.
And the grill was so small too. It was amazing how he got all those burgers in there. I mean, they were
Could fit
busy
a
the whole
lot on
time.
there.
And yeah,
Oh,
They
it
were
was-
busy.
never a time when they weren't busy. It was
Yeah.
so amazing. I miss it so much. I miss the smell, and
Yeah.
I only eat fish right
You
now.
know-
and I
Yeah,
still
totally.
miss the smell.
One of the things that I'm always looking for is when there's a good place to eat, but also parking lot. It's like they have to have parking so I can go in there and I don't have to like worry about parking. That place didn't have parking, but I didn't mind. I didn't
I
mind.
suffered.
I'll
You
walk.
could, well, you
3
used
blocks
to be
just
able
get
to
there,
just
you know?
cut right through there, so it wasn't
Yeah,
a big
yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Oh,
But,
remember the pierogi place right next to Happy Dog?
dude.
Oh,
okay.
my
Let's
God.
talk about Mazzetta's. That was and you know who has that recipe, and they ain't parting with it. Is they had Rocket for a while?
Yeah.
Liz and Molly Hirely, right?
Right.
They have the recipe, and they will still make them sometimes for like
It's
my
on
brother goes to the
Thursdays, I
pub,
think. Or,
Casey's Pub.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So,
we tried to get him to teach a class here. They were, how about teaching that? We're, yeah, right. Like,
yeah,
they're
and
gonna
the
share
craziest thing
Mazzetta's.
is the daughter tried to open up another restaurant in Centerville, and it was called the Golden Orb. Back in the day, there was a pierogi forum, and we had to figure it all out where they went, and they were serving like pierogies and borscht, but it lasted like maybe a year or so.
Wait, we were talking about? Liz and Molly?
No,
No, we're talking about the original
the actual daughter.
owners. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the owner. Yeah.
God, underground pierogi world. Bring
yeah,
it back.
yeah.
Bring it back, folks.
Yeah, my friend somehow found out about it, and by the
Yeah.
time I got there, I wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
It was so depressing.
We need
Once
good food.
again,
We need
we've
food.
gone down. It's lunchtime, so
Yeah.
our show always progresses. I wonder if it would be different if we recorded in the late afternoon. Would we be thirsty? I don't know. Tired?
We'll be sleepy.
So, anyway,
Oh, I sound like a
Takeshi,
robot.
I'm so happy you're on the other side of the mic
Yep.
and not Googling all of Gerardo's fun facts.
I know.
And feel free to edit any of this. We really went off the charts.
Yeah.
I think we did like an hour and a half on this thing. Jesus.
An hour and 11 minutes.
Maybe it's a part two. All right,
yeah.
everybody. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.